Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will set again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind Dale, head out to Chull or Shadowfell. Hey, hey, together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss. Hey, hey, bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will set again. Idle champions.
Oh, that's my cue. Yep, always missing my cues. Always missing my cues while I was trying to double check something. Welcome, folks, to Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. The tutorial show. This is a show where we talk on a single topic, or I talk on a single topic for about an hour, and then in the second half of the show, I answer questions about that topic first. But any questions, people can ask questions at any time about anything in Idle Champions, game mechanic wise. And Martin will be grabbing the questions from chat, putting them in a document so I can get to them in the second half of the show. Okay, Martin. Just one. Yeah, okay, that was right. I'm like, did I put the right people out on the screen? I'm like, is that really all of those that came out in the last quarter of 2022? And they did, folks. Today's topic is the 2022 Champions Part 4. These are basically the recaps of everything that came in the previous year, but instead of doing them all like a few years back, story time, a few years back, Dylan was like, hey, what if you covered every champion that released last year in one show? I was like, yeah, I could do that. Folks, there are 17 event champions that come out every year, and then at least one evergreen. At least one evergreen. So that was like, in a 2-hour show, I was trying to cover 18 champions. Didn't leave much time for the Q&A portion of the show. and my voice was toast. So now we break them up. So we talk about them every quarter. So you can go back and find the VODs on YouTube of Part 1, Part 2, Part 3 for 2022. And this is Part 4. This is Part 4. So we always do this after that section of the year has ended. All right. Let us see. Again, the usual disclaimer. I'm not a developer on Idle Champions. I'm just somebody who knows a lot about the game. Has been playing for over 5 years, making guides for the game for 5 years. So when you ask questions, keep that in mind. Because if you're like, do you know about this bug? I'm like, well, I'm not QA. Or when's this gonna change in the game? I don't know. I'm not the developer. But you'd ask me about the champions and formations and adventures and all that kind of stuff, and I'm probably gonna have an answer. Probably. Let us see. So we had 5 champions come out. I'm a little off this morning. In part because Martin had to step away for a second. Let me grab some of the questions from chat, just so we don't lose them, just in case. Sometimes we have emergencies we have to deal with, folks. Okay. So the first one we're going to talk about is Egbert from the Oxventurers Guild. Egbert came in as a Dragonborn Paladin, taking healing, support, and gold find. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. Yeah. Solid Overwhelm for a tank. Overwhelm is the taking stat, is one of the tanking stats, along with your health. Overwhelm is going to be allow you to tank more enemies at once without taking lots of bonus damage. So we like to see that. Are we back? Are we back? Excellent. Okay. Base attack, homemade bombs, because that's what you want. That's what you want people throwing around all the time. Homemade bombs. Egbert throws a bomb at the nearest enemy, dealing damage and knocking back enemies in a small area. So we got to pause here for a second, because this is, so for a tank, this is a bit of a survivability feature. But it's also kind of, if the tank it doesn't happen in this situation, but if the tanks a lot of times have ramping features, where the more enemies that are attacking them, the more they'll buff your party. When you have an AoE knockback on a tank, that's never going to happen. So when you're using Egbert, if you're using them in a multi-tank front line, recognize that even though it's on a very long cooldown, it's going to interrupt that in-combat kind of situation that often goes on. For some champions, like Ashara, the longer she's in combat, like she takes flight and does more damage. It can change some things. So keep that in mind for Egbert. It is fantastic for a survivability feature, because you're not taking constant damage. But sometimes it has its drawbacks. All right, first up, atone for the... Okay, oh yes. Egbert has a lot going on in the math. Egbert has a number of atonement points equal to the number of lawful champions in the formation, minus the number of chaotic champions in the formation, not including Egbert himself. So in Sword Coast, we'd be dealing with 8 other champions, and in other places where there's 10, we'd be dealing with 9. So the number's either going to get to 8 or 9 max. Positive or negative. This is the fun of Egbert. We deal in positives and negatives with Egbert. Stop it. Stop it. Why are you... Stop it. I do not have a familiar on you. What are you doing? What are you doing? Martin, my game not working. What's going on? What is going on? This is new. I guess let's talk about Egbert's specializations, folks. Jesus. That's almost 5.5 years, folks, playing this game. Never seen this before. Jeez. It's, you know what it is. I know exactly what it is. Oh no. I have Egbert he's supposed to be over here. And I bet there's something, hold on. I bet there's some bleed through with the familiar that's sitting on his. Yeah, it's this familiar. It's going to be that familiar ghost leveling him up from the background party. God. I've been seeing a lot of ghost actions from the background parties. Hold on. Let's see if that fixed it. Let's see if that fixed it. It leveled him up. It leveled him up past his specialization. It just picked one. Yeah. Okay, hold on, folks. Ah, boy. I'm just gonna flush this whole thing. Yeah, that's what happened. So the background part. Oh boy, that's new enjoyment. That's new enjoyment. That's what we're gonna call it, folks. We're gonna call it enjoyment, even though it's clearly not. Clearly not enjoyment. Okay, Egbert, come out here. Kit and Virgil, and then a War Duck and Imoen. I think I had this the other way around. Yeah. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, so back to the math. The thing you got to remember with Egbert is he deals with positives and negatives. So he's going to have these numbers that are positive and negative numbers, and you got to come over here to outgoing effects to figure out where you're at. So Atone for the Past is counting, and it's giving you either positive points for lawful champions or negative points for chaotic champions. And the total, whether it's a positive or negative number, the number itself, whatever the number is, regardless of the plus or minus sign, so the pure value, is going to get multiplied by the 100%. Okay? So it's math. This is math time, folks. So when we come over here, currently we're at a -1. So we have more negative, we have more chaotic people in the formation than we have lawful, and there may be some neutral folks. Okay? So we're only getting one atonement point. They square it. Whatever. They square, which basically means they're just removing the positive or the negative. By squaring it, it's going to remove the positive or the negative, but you're going to get a large. If it was 2, there might be 4, right? Like there's a whole thing going on here, and you're getting your stacks. It's the absolute value, that kind of stuff. Look at the deal with the absolute values, and then when they're squaring it, they're squaring something is going to get rid of that issue too. I hate when we talk about math in the mornings. So this is going to be a thing with numbers, and honestly, if you're really trying to maximize Egbert, you're trying to get a higher number, but build your best formation and see what happens, is really what I'm saying. That's how I use Egbert, and for general usage, it's going to be fine. Lay on Hands. After Egbert makes a base attack, if there's a champion below 50% hit points, including himself, he heals the most damaged champion for 3,400, or for an amount. This can change, multiplied by the absolute value of the number of atonement points he has. This is because they take the absolute value that gets rid of that negative. That's really all that matters. They get rid of that negative, and thus you get a positive value, because negatively healing somebody would be bad, right? So they have to take an absolute value. So right now it's going to be multiplied by -1, or 1, because the absolute value of -1 is 1. Friendly Protection. Egbert increases the health of all other champions by 5% of his max health, multiplied by the absolute value of the number of atonement points he has. There's my announcer voice. We're going to see this in everything. You could just learn the absolute value. It's just going to get rid of the negative. So this is the health share, but instead of having it be a fixed number, it varies. It varies, so sometimes the health share is better than others. More the merrier. Egbert increases the effective Atone for the Past by 100% for each enemy on the screen. So this is the difference with Egbert. He can throw those bombs and knock them back, because he's counting just enemies on the screen. Real nice. And each point of enemy boss enrage, right? So as the enrage ticks up. So that's real nice for Egbert. Golden scales, Egbert I'm gonna sneeze again. Egbert increase. Whew. I don't know why I woke up sneezing today, but here we go, folks. Here we go. Let's hope. Let's hope the allergies are not in full effect today. All right, golden scales. Egbert increases the global gold find by 100% multiplied by the absolute value of the number of atonement points he has. So right now we're at -1. Now we could flesh out the formation and and try to since we're in the negatives, we just want to go hard on the negatives probably. Yeah, confirmed. I'm allergic to math. But here's the thing: his specialization. Atomic begins with an apology or Team Chaos team. Basically, you're either going in on positives or negatives. So this is assigning, because remember, everything was dealing with either lawful or chaotic, and it did nothing with neutral champions. So what this does is it says, well, where are we going to put the neutrals? Are we going to give them positive points, or are we going to give them negative points? So you just want to look. The way it works for me is once you have your full formation, I just come over here. I see, am I in the negatives or the positives? Well, I'm in the negatives, so I'm going to go with the negative one. And then if I come back, now suddenly I'm at 4, so I get 16 squared atonement points. And everything's getting modified by this 4. So now we've got more health share, and we've got some golden scales at 4, right? So that's what you're looking at when you're trying to do his specialization. Is just there's first specialization. Are we gonna go heavy in the negatives or the positives? If it's at 0 when you look at it, then it doesn't matter. You can go either way. You can go either way, truly. La Vache Mauve. Alright, we'll come back to the ultimate. Well, no, we'll do the ultimate attack right now. Okay. One of the more hilarious ultimate attacks in the game. La Vache Mauve. I don't know if I feel like I'm pronouncing that close to what it's supposed to be. Clouds come down from the top of the screen and part, revealing the head of La Vache Mauve. Radiant light shines out from behind their head and illuminates the area. Enemies take ultimate damage, and the champions deal 1,000% more damage for 20 seconds. So this is a damage button. You want to do more damage? It's going to do some damage, and then your champions are going to do more damage for 20 seconds. Right? So this is who they worship, is my understanding, is La Vache Mauve. Is everybody ready? God, hold on. Let's close some of this. You know what? I'm even gonna hide the UI at the top. Here we go, folks. Oh, hold on. I need to stop our progress because I don't want us leaving this screen. It's a purple cow, folks. That's who they worship. It's a purple cow. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's so funny. It's just a light. I am here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright. Let's bring the UI back. Oh, the Vache Mauve. Alright. So that's the ultimate. Alright, now we get specializations that actually alter the way Egbert functions, and it's just going to boost whichever thing that you need the most. So smoky bombs, straight up I tend to use smoky bombs. Smoky bombs, Egbert's bombs now also create smoke clouds that last for 10 seconds. Enemies in one or more smoke clouds take an additional amount of damage from attacks. This is why I use this. And have a 50% chance to miss with their attack. It's just win-win. It's win-win. Smoky bombs is great. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't situations where you'll want to use the others. But primarily, if I'm pushing and I have Egbert in my formation, it's smoky bomb time. Health kick. Egbert's lay on hands targets the 2 most damaged champions, and the amount of healing is increased by an amount. So if you're in a situation where you really need some heals, maybe you're in one of those every X seconds you're taking lots of damage, and Egbert qualifies, so you could throw in and you get extra heals with health kick. It may just be the best situation for you, right? Ox Venture Capitalism. This is all the gold find. So Egbert increases the effective golden scales by 100% for each Ox Ventures affiliation member in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. So this is specifically gold find if you're running an Ox Ventures party. And I got it. Yeah. It's all about the math. I'm allergic to math. Confirmed. Oh boy. All right. I didn't even go outside, so it has to be math. It has to be math. Can't be something outside. All right, hold on. I believe that's it. He's got a lot going on. Yeah. He's got a lot. So Egbert has a lot going on regarding math, absolute values and whatnot. Just know you can come over here and you can see the number you're dealing with. It's just this one, and then you make your decisions based off this number. And it's going to do what it's going to do. I don't know that I've ever really tried to build around the number. I don't know that Egbert's that strong. He's not like... I feel like Egbert isn't an Artemis or a Krond where you're building around those things to get max points. It's just nice when it happens, it feels like. Now, when you're in an Ox Ventures group, if you're going full Ox Ventures, then you can make some interesting choices there. But yeah, neat kit, fun kit. Like I said, I love this. I love the bombs and I love the smoky bombs. As long as the other tank in my party, like if I'm in a duo tank or a trio tank situation, as long as the other tanks don't need people attacking them to ramp up, fantastic situation with Egbert. So item-wise, we get damage all champions. Straight up gold find, because they can't give you an item that boosts the ability, because that'd be broken. Because of the way it stacks multiplicatively with other Ox Ventures. So you get straight up gold find. So kind of a little unusual. This is something we saw in Archon, but, Then we get health. We get atone for the past, so that's the main thing, right? Everything feeds into kind of atone for the past. And then we get... it's the second specialization. So this is neat. They buff your specializations, and it's cool because, remember... his first specialization is a damage debuff on enemies. So ramping damage debuff based off an item, yes please. And then the second one, if you want to go for the healing, it means more healing, and yeah, that's nice, right? And then we get ultimate cooldown because everybody wants to see the cow more often. Oh, welcome to the world of forfeits. Everybody is four-footed in Idle Champions now, folks. So let's talk about feats. You're in luck with Egbert. Look at all the feats he has. Everybody has... If you don't know this yet, folks, surprise, you can unlock 4 feat slots now in Idle Champions. Alright. So we have increased damage of all champions. We've got increased gold find. We've got increased health because he does all that stuff. Yeah, he covers all that stuff. And then here's the healing ones. I was like, he's got healing too. There they are. We can boost atone for the past. There's a feat that boosts the specialization, the second specialization choices. He's got overwhelm. Yeah, you can buff all the things. So he has lots and lots of options depending on what you need. Which is what you want for a tank like that. All right. Let's go with Kent next. So Kent joins us from the Rivals of Waterdeep. They're a Tiefling rogue. They slot into the DPS support situation. So yeah, did I use them as... I've used them primarily as support, but I think I used them as kind of as DPS the other day. So yeah, functional when you need them. Base attack, Rapier. Kent strikes the closest enemy with his Rapier. Ultimate attack, Wails from the Grave. I'm still waiting for a pirate Kent outfit where they take the homonym of Wails from the Grave and it's whales. It's spectral whales coming out. I really need that skin in my life. I wouldn't use anything else. Sandy, please. So Wails from the Grave. The weather changes to fog. For 30 seconds, whenever Kent attacks, a ghostly spirit is summoned and attacks an additional enemy if possible, dealing bud damage. This is fantastic. This means for 30 seconds, you effectively get a double DPS. You get Kent and this spirit attacking, doing the same kinds of damage. Great for chewing through segmented health enemies, whether hit-based or armored, or, you know, yeah. So like in the current event with the Devourer that's segmented health, here you go. Twice as fast with Kent, right? Because it deals bud damage, I mean, that basically means you're doing the damage that Kent would be doing. I was going to hit it so that you could see it. That would be helpful, Gaarawarr. Boom. Boom. Because we're not, it's there. There's a spirit there, I swear. Somewhere. I can't tell. There's a lot going on. Anyway, that's what it looks like. All right. Level 0. So this is an ability that functions whenever you see level 0 on an ability. This is an ability that functions even while they're on the bench. This is one of those rare cases that it has to affect the champion even before you level them up, so they put it at level 0. Inseparable. If Virgil qualifies for an adventure restriction based on his tags, age, ability scores, etc., Kent may be used as well. So basically this means if Virgil qualifies, Kent's going along too. That's just the way it works. And spoiler alert, Kent has one of these that says Virgil has one of these that says if Kent qualifies, Virgil's going along too, right? So Kent and Virgil can always be used as a dynamic duo in any of your adventure variants, as long as one of them qualifies. All right, Tokens of the Departed. This is the one where Kent makes you work for it, folks. Tokens of the Departed. Kent keeps a soul trinket of the highest level boss defeated in each campaign, and the highest level boss defeated in all events. Now, when they say all events, they mean each event isn't tracked separately. It means whatever the highest level bosses you've killed in any event is the token. I want to be clear. Each campaign gets a token per campaign, but events as a whole get one token. Okay, this is to prevent you from having to go collect tokens, high-level tokens, for currently 112 different event champions. Because each champion and their formation is considered its own event. If you didn't know that. They arrive in a named thing, but because each has their own campaign, they're tracked as their own event. Anyway. So, Kent increases the damage of all champions in his column. Brunner. Tutorial Dwarf. Increase the damage of all champions in his column by an amount for each soul trinket level. For each soul trinket level. So, this means, like I said, Kent makes you work for it. You got to go out and do deep pushes in every campaign, and then and at least find your deepest push in a single event and collect your soul trinkets. I've done this in almost all of them. So here's Grand Tour. Kent has to be in the formation. So he has to be in, see where he was present. He has to be in the formation when you kill the boss. It doesn't have to be the first time you kill the boss. You can push super deep and then figure out a way to maybe ride a bud spike to have Kent in the formation. When the boss dies, it counts. It counts. It doesn't say the first time. It counts. So I've got Grand Tour, I've got Tomb, I've got Dragon Heist, I've got Descent, I've got Rhyme, I've got which... Oh, I haven't done Light of Xerxes yet. But all of this is going to get totaled up. And you're going to get a total of your trinket levels, and then it's going to get, modified and whatever. And so I've got, with all of mine, a 9,000, I've got an EO6 bonus so far. We've still got to level up Kent, but the rest of the way. But this is how Kent works. It's going to track those deep pushes. As you can see, I've gone further in some places than others. Ignore this one. This was That was shenaniganry. That was shenaniganry. You're not supposed to, folks, you're not supposed to be able to go over Area 2000 in the game currently, but bugs. All right, remembering the old days. Each time Kent or the ghostly spirit from his ultimate attacks, he gains a nostalgia stack that lasts until entering a new area. Kent increases his damage by 50% for each stack, stacking multiplicatively. It's a good word. Buffs are then applied to the post-stack value, and the stacks are capped at 25 stacks. So the longer you're sitting on a level, the more damage he's ramping up to the point of 25 stacks, but it's multiplicatively. So doing stuff with attack speed, having Kent attack faster is going to ramp his damage up faster. You're going to get your bonuses faster. If I sit here and I turn off our progress, this is a way you can spike Bud and carry your Bud into the next area to try to kill with start kill chains with ultimates. So as we can see, as I'm getting nostalgia stacks, the amount's going up, and it's going up by a lot. Like, suddenly we're in EO4. So every time he attacks, he's not the only one here attacking, so every time he attacks, this is going to jump up. And it's going to keep doing that until I get to my max stacks. So it's all about your attacks. If I hit the ultimate, it's going to stack faster. Once it's at the cap, though, doesn't matter. It's already done. But this is a great thing. It's basically, it's going to help you when you get to a level where you're just not killing everything right away, like immediately. You're going to start getting more and more damage so that you can hopefully clear the level. Clear level extra. Kent's force of personality emboldens his companions. Kent increases the damage of all champions by your current achievement bonus. So, if you can't tell, Kent is a champion that rewards you for progress in the game. So that means he's going to scale to a certain degree as you progress and earn more achievements. So the further you push in campaigns, the more achievements you get. Kent's going to give you bonuses based off this stuff. I will say I've got all but like 7 achievements in the game. So this isn't the hugest. It's got a little bit of a buff going on, so it's at EO6. But if I come over here to my achievements, I'm at 343 EO5, and I'm only missing 7 achievements. So, it is going to continuously scale, but that one specifically, maybe not, the biggest scaling. But he has an item for that, so it's going to scale. You're going to scale a multiplier off of that at least. All right, we already talked about Whales from the Grave. Let's talk about the specializations. Kent, I really enjoy Kent's specializations. You kind of have choices based off what you're looking for. I think that's a good idea. So we get either Robust Rivals or Potent Poison. So Robust Rivals, Kent increases the attack bonus of Tokens of the Departed by 100% for each Rivals of Waterdeep champion, stacking multiplicatively. So if you're running a full Rivals formation, yes, please. Right? You're going to multiplicatively is a good way. You're going to get a real big bonus, and it's against those collected tokens. That's nice. So that would be that works for either his. It should work for both support and DPS. Yes, because this is damage of all champions in his column, which includes him. So whether you're support or DPS, if you're running full Rivals, here, this is where you go. Potent Poison, though, whenever Kent attacks an enemy and doesn't kill it, it's affected by a virulent poison. The poison deals 4 seconds worth of Bud to the enemy each second for 4 seconds. Here's the thing, folks. The left one is straight up damage, but the right one helps you chew through those segmented health enemies. Because every second for 4 seconds, they're going to take 4 seconds worth of Bud damage. So if it's just a hit-based enemy, like the Devourer in the current event, every time Kent attacks, poison, and it's 4 seconds, and it's just tick, 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 chunking through hit-based stuff. If it's an armored enemy, as long as the Bud value is enough to take off a chunk of armor, it's going to help you chunk through the armor too. So the poison is great if you're facing lots of segmented health enemies. Whereas this one's going to, if you're running full rivals group or a heavy rivals group, this one's going to give you just straight up punching power. Okay, I tend to run Potent Poison a lot because I like the dots. I like the dots. Oh, hey, we maxed. Okay. What was it? That's everything. Okay. All right. So item wise, a pair of damage all champions items. We get a tokens of the departed multiplier, which is good because obviously that's a big deal. We get a remembering the old days. That's the nostalgia. So you're ramping up that damage, that in area damage boost, and then the extra is the one for that modifies your achievement bonus, and then of course we can reduce the cooldown on the ultimate attack, which is a good idea. So once again, for feat slots, we get damage all champions. You're gonna have self damage for Kent because he's a DPS. We get tokens of the departed multipliers. We get an extra multiplier. We get remembering the old days. So a wide variety of ways to modify Kent. With the feats. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate, folks, while we're here, since I'm up to the point where we have enough gold to do this. The 4th feat slot that they just added to the game is going to be over the soft cap, upgrade soft cap of your champions. So it says I have to get them to 2080. If you'll notice, I have this set to upgrade. I'm at 1930. I can't upgrade anymore. I need to get to 2080. So what do? I just click over here and I turn this into a higher thing. And then I just hit it and I level over. Now I'm going to need some more gold to get this to 2080, but that's how you do, folks. You just change this to one of these other numbers and level over the soft cap to get those new things. Virgil! I didn't want to yell too loud. Virgil. Let's talk about Virgil. Virgil comes also from Rivals Waterdeep, obviously. Aasimar Sorcerer, support speed. Virgil is this fantastic addition to the speed champion lineup as long as you're willing to invest in Virgil. Oh man, now my nose doesn't want to stop running. Okay, Magic Missile is the basic attack. Virgil fires 3 Magic Missiles at random targets. So he's just going to be peppering people with Magic Missiles. It's fine. Inseparable. We already talked about Inseparable. Again, the same thing. So goes where Kent goes. Storm Sorcerer. So Virgil increases the damage of all adjacent champions. So like functions like Celeste. By an amount, but also decreases their normal attack speed cooldown by 1 second. So if we look at Kent's normal attack speed cooldown, 3.25. Right? If we put Virgil next to them, 2.25. So just straight up shaves a second off of their normal attack speed. Fantastic. And this works well. This is fantastic because this works real well with the Potent Poison on Kent because you're just applying that poison more often, right? To things and just ticking. You're keeping it constantly applied. Weather control. Virgil gains a weather stack each time the weather changes when advancing to a new area or when it's changed by an ultimate attack or other ability. Now remember, we saw that Wails from the Grave changes the weather to foggy, so there's a built-in synergy. You want to be changing the weather. There's also Gosrick from Rivals of Waterdeep. If we look up here, Gosrick can make it snow. There's a weather change, right? So any ways you can change the weather is going to help this ability stack up more damage. So Virgil tracks each type of weather in a separate stack. Each stack is multiplied by 10%, and then all stacks are multiplied together to get a total value, which increases the damage of all champions. Each stack caps at 500. So if we come over here, I've got none. I've got no stacks. So we're just going to go ahead. I'm going to hit Wails from the Grave. Ooh, Wails. And now I've got a fog stack, and now we've got a bonus, right? So as I get more and more stacks of different types of weather, this weather control is going to get better. Hey, now no weather stacks, because that's a weather. It's clear. It's nice out. That's a weather, folks. That's a weather. Okay, people are like, make it snow. Hold on, we got to bring Gosrick's in Egbert slots. Hold on, let's bring Gosrick in. And I'll make it snow for you. Just so we can get a snow stack out here. There it goes. It's snowing. We're about to change levels, but there, it made it snow, folks. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. And if we come back over here, now we have a snow stack. Now we have a snow stack. So as you can see, there's a nice modifier, even when you don't have a lot of stacks. But ideally, you're stacking this up a lot. Why did I close that? Okay, back over here. Rapid fire. Enemies that are defeated within 2 seconds of being on screen, so this is insta-kill stuff, have a 5% chance to drop double quest items or count for double quest progress for each rival of Waterdeep champion in the formation, stacking additively. So, this is the speed effect. This is the speed effect. So I know it says 5% chance. There's an item for this that modifies this number. Just Virgil on their own. If Virgil's the only one in, so your multiplier is 1 for the Rivals of Waterdeep. This is what the item has to look like. It's the slot 5 item. Epic Shiny 1985. Epic Shiny 1985. So it does take an investment. This will get you to 100%. Which means every time you kill something within 2 seconds of it loading onto the screen, you get double credit. Just pure double credit for everything once he's at this cap. As long as you're killing basically instantly. We should be seeing, we're seeing this effect right now. So that even with this delay, this is all considered within 2 seconds, what you're seeing here. Because we're getting double credit for everything. We're actually getting more than double credit because we have Kent here. So Kent's going to be an extra modifier. If we come over here, we'll see. We have a chance for 3 times quest progress is 100% because we've got 2 rivals. And there's a chance for 4 times. That's a small bonus, right? So the more rivals you have, the bigger the bonus. But I'm going to straight up tell you, even when it's just Virgil in a speed formation with other speed champions, the double quest progress is fantastic. Fantastic. Virgil has earned a spot on people's speed teams. Speed teams. So once again, this item capped is what brings rapid fire to its cap of happening every time you kill something within 2 seconds. So specializations. We have 3, and it's basically moods. He could be relaxed, anxious, or determined. So in relaxed, Virgil's magic missile and chain lightning attacks turn green. And he further increases Storm Sorcerer's damage boost, while increasing the attack cooldown reduction by another second. So that means when you choose relaxed, you're taking 2 seconds, 2 flat seconds off of everyone around you's base attack speed. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I use that one the majority of the time. If I don't want to bother with figuring out what the other ones I just go relaxed because attack speed. And then I always change things in my wall if I need to. So anxious, the magic missile and chain lightning turns amber. He increases the number of magic missiles he fires by 1. And there's a 25% chance he stuns an enemy for 5 seconds. So this is if you want some crowd control. So you want to be able to stun some things. This is a good combination if they're supporting like Lucius from Heroes of Erois. Lucius kind of feeds power off of crowd control effects. The more crowd control effects there are, the more damage he does multiplicatively. So potentially getting some stuns out there. Nice, right? Determined. Virgil's magical missile and chain lightning turn violet. Virgil increases weather control's damage boost by 33% for each Rivals of Waterdeep champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. So if you've gone heavy on Rivals and you're stacking up your weather stacks like you should be, This could give you a huge bonus to damage for your party. Okay. I tend to go relaxed, so I'm going to stay relaxed. Level up to the cap. All right. So, that's mood relaxed. Surprise mood angry. So even though I'm relaxed, every now and then Virgil's going to get angry. While a champion of the formation is knocked out, that means dead, folks. Virgil's magic missile and chain lightning attacks turn red, and any enemy he hits with his base attack takes an additional amount of damage for the next 5 seconds. If an enemy is hit again, the timer is reset, but it doesn't otherwise stack. Now, this is a nice extra bonus damage to help chew through things like this if it's high enough. It's really going to help with segmented health stuff, like the hit-based. Not necessarily the armored, but the hit-based, because it's not bud-based. It's just a flat amount of damage. Now, this is if someone in your party is dead. There are people who are they're just dead. They just are. If you'll notice here, we're green, we're relaxed, we're angry. Now we're angry. This is angry mode. This is because Voronika always dead. Their level 0 ability. Hi, I'm dead. So you can trigger this with certain champions without having to lose a champion from the formation. Oh, I'm on Cat. I'm on Virgil. So we're triggering the angry. Everything turns red. Now we're angry. Now we're getting our extra damage. Yeah. Now I want to come back. I want to come back here. I want to come back here with the dead. Yeah. I just want to. I think we should have. Well, I don't know. I gotta check the health on this. E25. Yeah, we're not okay. We're seeing potent poison tick off. But yeah, not the other because we're not in it's not segmented health, it's armored. Okay. So that's surprise mood angry, and then the ultimate is chain lightning. So, Virgil attacks a random enemy with a bolt of lightning, dealing ultimate damage every 0.2 seconds. So 5 times a second. The lightning bolt attacks another random enemy until 20 enemies are struck or no enemies remain. In addition, the area's weather changes to thunder. So, again, both Kent and Virgil, if you have them in, you want to just park because of with Virgil, you want to park a familiar on these so that you just get the weather effects. Here we go. It rains and we get the thunder damage and lightning and whatever. So we get another. That's another weather control stack. See, thunderstorm stacks, snow, fog, and no weather. Right now we're up to an EO5 bonus, and I've only got 1 in each of these. It's pretty great. All right. Item-wise, pair of damage all champions items. We get a Storm Sorcerer modifier, we get a Weather Control modifier, and the aforementioned Speed item modifier that caps. We also get Ultimate Attack cooldown. That's great. I've already leveled them up past the soft cap once. Damage all champions, Storm Sorcerer feats, Weather Control feats. We get Rapid Fire feat. This is what you have to have the Rapid Fire feat in with the item capped to get to that 100%. I forgot to mention that. They do need this. They do need the feed in to get to 100%. Yeah, and then high level Storm Sorcerer and Weather Controls for 50k gems or cash up purchases. There's also a Strength feat, so that Strength feat's going to qualify them for Zerial, I believe. Yes. Yeah, Patron Zerial. Okay. I looked over and I'm like, but they're already at 10. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's because they're already slotted it. Gaarawarr, come on. All right. It's War Duck time. It's War Duck time. War Duke, folks. I am waiting for the War Duck skin. They have an action figure skin, but I want a rubber ducky War Duck skin. I just want it to be called War Duck. And they have like a duck, and there's a duck. And I want War Duck. Yellow armor. That'd be great. Warduke comes to us. Technically, I think this is out of the Wild Beyond the Witchlight book, but Warduke was around in the 80s as an action figure and things. Warduke's been around a while. Human fighter, DPS tanking, chaotic evil, 25 overwhelm. Warduke is complicated. Let's talk about the base attack. Nightwind. Warduke moves up to the closest enemy and swings his sword, dealing one hit to all nearby enemies with a melee attack. So AoE. So PB, point blank AoE. PB AoE. Ultimate attack, Flame Tongue Sword. Warduke's sword Nightwind ignites in flames for 30 seconds. For the duration, Warduke deals an additional 1000% damage with his normal attacks, and he takes half damage from all sources. So this is a damage bonus and a survivability bonus. If Warduke activates his ultimate again before its effect expires, because there's ways to do that, the duration just gets refreshed. So here's what it looks like. Boom, Flaming Sword. It's pretty straightforward. Flaming Sword. Does what it says. You'll notice on there, Warduke has an overlay with arrows pointing in with a number. Warduke plays with positional formation abilities, folks. Warduke plays with positional formation abilities. So he does strange things with them. That's why I said he's complicated. We'll get to that. A trained killer is the first ability. Each time Warduke attacks or is damaged, he gains a remorseless stack. Warduke increases his damage by amounts for each stack he has, stacking additively, but these stacks reset when you move to a new area. So again, there's no cap stated here. Oh, did they put one in? I don't think so. So the more he's attacking and the more he's being attacked, the higher he's going to ramp his damage. They don't state a cap here. So if you can keep them alive... Oh, no. This is more shenaniganry. If you can keep them alive forever... Infinite ramping damage. Dang it. Chat, why didn't I test that shenaniganry? Alright. That's another one for the shenaniganry show. Bodyguard for the highest bidder. This increases the health of all champions. That's the health share. This is common with tanks. We saw it on Egbert. Chaotic inversion. This is the ability that you build Warduke around, and you really have to build around Warduke. Most positional formation abilities in the game, targets are inverted. What does that mean? What does it mean? So what it means is if you have, I'm going to use Tutorial Dwarf, if you have Brunor buffs people in his column. Everyone in his column gets a buff. That's how Brunor works. Until you put Warduke in the formation. And then Brunor buffs everyone that isn't in his column. Inverted. So the target's inverted. So instead of Brunor goes from buffing in his column to buffing everyone that isn't in his column. And imagine this with every other thing. Are you Celeste buffing adjacent? No, you're not. Not anymore. You're buffing all non-adjacent. Right? So, now this is most abilities. There are going to be some positional formation abilities that are just... It would have just been too weird to try. They couldn't figure out how to invert them, so they just didn't. But that's how Warduke works. And so when you're building a Warduke formation... Everything you know about any champion you've ever used potentially could be changed if they have a positional formation ability. If they're just buffing the damage of all champions, that doesn't change. But if they're buffing positionally, it changes. It changes. So keep that in mind. That makes Warduke challenging to use, but But it opens up potential unique shenaniganry in the game. I don't think I've heard of any... Well, I don't know. Nobody's told me about any wild shenaniganry with Warduke yet, although now I'm like, well, we could make him invincible and ramp his damage forever. Why did nobody tell me that? Probably because they don't want CNE to know. Drawn to Power is the next ability. Warduke's damage is increased by an amount for each positional formation ability affecting him, stacking multiplicatively. So we've seen this before, folks. We see this on like Artemis has an observe where the more positional formation abilities they observe, the better things get. Valentine has a thing like this with boosts with the number of them coming in, and so this is you want to play with lots of champions with positional formation abilities, and you want to, in this inverted way, land them all on Warduke. So that Warduke's number goes up real high. So you get this multiplicative boost. All right. Specializations. So the first one, Chaos Reigns. Warduke's damage is increased by 100% for each chaotic champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. So this is, they're going to give you the number. I think we do this for each of these, yeah. So it's basically you're looking at whatever one has the highest number. So Mercenary for Hire, the damage is increased by 300% for each Gold Fine champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. And then Warduke's damage is increased by 500%, League of Malevolence, for each Evil champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. So you want to go with the higher number. Because you need... 1 doesn't work. There's no multiplicative stacking in 1. But here's the thing. Even though this is like 500%, this is 100%. 100% times 100% gives us 10,000%. I think that's right. Yeah, that's right. 4 zeros. So this is obviously the higher number. So you just always... I feel like you just always go with the higher number. I don't see any reason. Even with the math the way it is, there'd be no reason not to just go with the higher number. Hold on, let me get them up to their cap. There we go. Okay. Oh, that was everything. All right. Not that they need more. They got enough going on as it is. Item-wise, straight up self-damage. They boost a trained killer. They boost a drawn to power. This is boosting that specialization choice. So it's going to be a post-stack buff, if I remember correctly. I'll double-check. They get health, and then they get ultimate attack cooldown. Hold on, let me go check to make sure. Yeah, it's a post-stack multiplier. Okay. Feat-wise, we get health because they're a tank. We get self-damage because they're a DPS. You get a trained killer drawn to power. We get the overwhelm, again, because tank. They have never skip leg day. This is this huge list. This is a feat for their specialization choice. Should be post-stack. And then they have a charisma bonus, and this charisma bonus qualifies for them for Patron's Aerial. All right, that's Warduke. On to Imoen. Imoen joined us as the most recent member of the addition to the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of Heroes of Baldur's Gate. That might be it. I don't know. Can they come up with more? Maybe. Imoen is a human rogue wizard. Neutral good, healing, and support tags. I want to say the healing is there for shielding. Imoen's new. I'm still... my memory is... I want to say it's shield. I know she's got shields. I think that's why. Short bow base attack. Imoen shoots a random arrow with... a random enemy with her bow. A random arrow with her bow. I mean, that makes sense. It would be a random arrow, but... no. Random enemy. Optimism is the base, the first ability, so increases the damage of adjacent champions. So, once again, buffs like Celeste. If you've used Celeste before and placed her in a formation, that's your formation Q, is adjacent to the DPS. Upgrade paths for Imoen. We can either go Beast Slaying Arrows, Dragon Slaying Arrows, Monstrosity Slaying Arrows, or Aberration Slaying Arrows. Folks, Imoen is picking her favored foe. This is the new Heroes of Baldur's Gate mechanic. It's a new mechanic in the game, but it's kind of the focus of the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. Favored foe. So whatever you choose becomes the favored foe. And then her short bow attacks against them deal additional bud-based damage with each hit. This means you kind of want to know how many, like, what are you facing off against, because you're going to become, Imoen becomes a secondary DPS when attacking those enemies, because she'll be doing bud-based damage, which means she's doing damage based off your primary DPS's attacks. So, a good way to again, if you're dealing with lots of beasts, if they're hit based or hit based, she's going to help anyway. But if they're armored and your bud is high enough, you're going to remove extra chunks. So dragon slaying arrows, people have been testing out dragon slaying arrows in trials. But that's what you're looking for, is you're getting extra damage against these other enemies. I don't think we're dealing with any dragons, but dragon slaying arrows just sound cool. Okay. Perseverance. Anytime any champion's favored foes appears or is defeated. So you get it can either when they show up on the screen or they're killed. Imoen increases the effect of optimism by 50%, stacking multiplicatively. This stacks up to 50 times. Stacks are reset each time the champion changes areas. And we're inverted because of Warduke. So you can track this back here. Again, I don't think we have any other favored foe people, and we're not fighting dragons. But every time one would show up, and it's any favored foe, not just hers, any favored foe, she gives you multiplicative boosts. So again, this is something you can ramp up. You can pause on a level. Here we go. You can pause up on a level, ramp it up, and give yourself a nice damage spike to carry into another level. All right. Stone Skin. So this is what qualifies her as a healer, because she's giving temp HP shields. Before every 8th attack or upon entering a new area, Imoen casts Stone Skin on all champions in the frontmost column of the formation. So your tank line. This only affects that front column. Want to be very clear. I forget, and I think I'm like, oh, it's everybody, right? No, it's just the front column. Granting them 300 temp HP. That amount's going to vary. The amount is increased by 5% additively for each favored foe that is alive. Okay. So, attack speed's going to help you keep this up more often, because you're going to get it when you first move in, and then it's going to wear off as you take damage, but every 8th attack will reapply it. So keep that in mind. That's her healing effect. It's just a damage prevention. Polymorph. So, remember how we said, well, you want to look at Imoen to see like what you're running into, and so that you have a favored foe for her arrows. True. But Polymorph allows her to create them. Before every 3rd attack, Imoen polymorphs a random non-boss, non-static enemy into a monster with the same type as her favored foe, but with only 10% of its original health, so super easy to kill. She cannot polymorph enemies that are already polymorphed. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so this is how we were suddenly seeing perseverance stacks tick up. It's because she was polymorphing. She was polymorphing things into dragons. So this is a way that you can sit on a level. Like I said, you could sit on a level and turn off auto progress and stack up perseverance via this. Now it does say non-boss, so this won't affect a boss. You can't create different types of bosses. And non-static. Non-static means those things like the rotten logs, or walls, or gates, or fire, or whatever. Like, it's not going to turn those either. Okay. And that's it. She's pretty straightforward. So she is just an adjacent champion buffer. She has frontline shields, and she can boost with polymorph and dragon and whatever her slaying arrows are. Ultimate. Hey, I'm live. Ultimate is Disarm Trap, so she leaps out of the fray attacking 5 enemies in sequence with her short sword. in one hand and her lockpicks in the other. She prioritizes enemies with hits-based health. So that's those segmented health that just need like one HP to remove, and deals 5 hits per attack. She destroys hits-based things. Absolutely destroys them. If no hits-based enemies are available, she deals normal ultimate damage to enemies she attacks. So bud-based damage. So absolutely destroys hits-based things. Here we can pop this, but we don't have any hits-based things on. But look at her jump around and just attack lots of stuff. That's what she does. She attacks lots of things. Item-wise, damage all champions. We get the optimism boost, which is, I mean, that's her core ability. We get perseverance. So this again boosts optimism. We get stone skin to make that temp HP bigger. You get ultimate attack damage and ultimate attack cooldown. Feat-wise, damage all champions, obviously. Optimism, straight up into that. There's a perseverance feat with stone skin, so you can boost the temp HP. And you can get it even higher. Perseverance has an even higher one too. And then there's strength score. Again, strength is usually an indicator of qualifying for Patron Zariel, and it is here. It gets her up to the 10 she needs for strength. She already has the other stat. That's it, folks. Those are our 2022 champions, part 4. Those are the ones that came out. Hits based is not the I'm going to address this real quick before we go to break. Segmented health is the general term I use for any creature or any enemy type or whatever that has those little chunked boxes, whether it's hits based or armored. So are hits based segmented? Yes. All hits-based are segmented, but not all segmented are hits-based, because armored is also segmented, right? So hits-based means when you hover it over it, it's got like 50 HP, and because it's got 50 segments, so 1 HP per segment is a hits-based enemy. Armored is when it has normal health, and you have to do a huge amount of damage just to remove a chunk. Okay. All right. We're going to go take a short musical interlude. Our song today is an ode to Warduck. There's lots of quacking involved. When I come back, we'll hit the questions list. We got about 10 stacked up so far, folks. Drop those questions in chat, and I will answer that. I've got almost a whole hour to answer them once we get back.
By his name, only by his sword of flame, red eyes glowing in the dark. No, he'll never miss his mark. Winged helm of darkness blazing in the night. I'm sleep beneath him, yearning for a fight. It's Warduck, watch out, he's coming for you. It's Warduck, no doubt he'll split you in two. It's Warduck, you fool, they paid him with gold. It's Warduck, so cruel, your life has been sold. Warduck, Warduck. Who never seen his face? They just find the mess he makes. Once the friend who broke strong heart, his evil ways tore them apart. Heartstone made him evil, now he shuns the light. Once he was
War duck. I was quacking along at home, folks. All right. Let's dive into the questions. The way I usually do this is I try to hit the ones that are on topic first. Then I come back and hit them all. We always hit them all. We always hit them all, folks. First up, I don't have a name on this one. Is there an easy way to tell? Oh, it's because I'm the idiot that put this one in, and I didn't copy the name out. Apologies. Is there an easy way to tell if a champion has favored foes? Something in the description. Yeah, it's in the. It'll literally call out the term favored foe in their ability description. So Turiel, I'm just going to bring out Turiel for an example. Not a member of the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. And I didn't get that far. Come on, Turiel. But they do have a favored foe mechanic. Unflinching hatred. Fiends are Turiel's favored foe. So fiends would qualify as favored foes for anyone like Imoen whenever a favored foe appears. Well, if fiends were out there. So you can build a mix of different champions with different favored foes that apply to an adventure you're on, and Imoen's going to trigger off all of them. All of them. But people with favored foes now have callouts that literally say favored foe. No longer says favored enemy. It now says favored foe. TS Forest with Egbert, I was thinking neutral champions are included no matter which specialization chosen. From what I understand, is this correct? So, neutral on the lawful chaotic axis. That is the assignment of whether they're getting positive points or negative points. Is what's happening there. So yes, all neutral on the lawful chaotic axis are included because they're either getting the positive if you choose the left spec. They're either counting as positive points or they're counting as negative points on the right spec. That's literally what it's deciding. So it doesn't care about neutral on the good and evil axis. So if you see it say lawful neutral or chaotic neutral, it's already being counted before the specialization because it's counting the lawful or the chaotic. But if you see it saying neutral good or neutral evil or just straight up neutral, which means it's neutral on both axes, the specialization is what's counting it one way or the other. One way or the other. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm getting through. We got a lot of good questions here, and I'm like, ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. But it's not on topic. We'll get to them, though. Crazy Bat Captain. With Imoen's polymorph, and I've read this one, and Jim's Wand of Wonder transformations, can silly shenanigans happen? I've seen Mimic and Rabbit alternating. I'm not sure if the health changes around. Straight up, never considered this shenaniganry. But I want to. I want to. We have to. Oh, you know what I need to do? I have to get on a. We got to get on a boss level, and we need to single out an enemy. I mean, to single out an enemy. It would need to be somewhere high enough, though, that... Yeah, I'm just going to be killing everything, so... I don't think I can test this today. I would need to be on a boss level and single out that one enemy and not be able to kill it with just those two. So, who am I? Egbert. Get back in here. So that's... You know what? I don't know if they will definitely polymorph back and forth. 100%. Whether or not the health changes around, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Man, someone remind me to do that on my Idle Chatter stream on Monday, because I'll be able to push deep. I can't push deep here to get to the point like that, but I'll be able to push deep on Monday maybe, and we'll do that there. But yeah, I'm not sure. It would be... I think what's going to happen... I'm doing this in my head. What's going to happen is it's going to go Mimic. Mimic has its own set of health. It's going to go or it'll polymorph. She'll polymorph it into whatever her foe is, her favorite foe is. It's going to reduce to 10% of the mimic's health. But then if it goes back to mimic, it's just going to go back to the base mimic health probably. But maybe not. As Jason said though, as soon as it hits chicken, it's dead though. So difficult to figure out. Not sure. I think it's once you hit chicken, it's dead regardless until they fix chickens. I feel like this is the test to fix chickens, because chickens should have been like, chickens get like 10% of the health of whatever they are. Instead, they were given like no health, and yeah, I feel like we're probably going to see Jim get this 10% thing at some point. Anything else? Okay, no, everything else is general questions. So I guess nobody's confused by these champions. I guess we're good. Oh yeah, you could test it with Vi and ammo, and someone tell me to do that. Yeah, we can do the crystal sphere back and forth and see what happens. Freeman. I recently unlocked Artemis and tried building his formations. Whew. That's not going to work out well for you. Why are nerds recommended in many shared formations? Their buffs seem kind of weak, and what nerd combination is recommended? So nerds get recommended because all Artemis really cares about is positional formation abilities, kind of like Warduke, and the number of them that you can put into the formation and buff people with, that are buffing people. So nerds have a couple. To be honest, I say this all the time, I don't use Artemis very much. I don't like Artemis. You're not, unless you dumped thousands of item levels into your Artemis and you have like his epic shiny or golden flute, you're not going to see good results with Artemis. Artemis is right after they're unlocked and with normal item levels, Artemis is a low to mid tier DPS, even with a perfect formation. The reason people like Artemis is because you can, if you dump, his item is broken and it scales effectively infinitely with item levels. So you dump more and more item levels in, he creates more and more damage. But it takes like 1,500 or more item levels, average item levels on each item. And you need that flute. You need that like golden, epic golden flute to really get the best multiplier out of it. But yeah, that's why nerds is shared, is because they have multiple PFAs. But just straight up, like here's the thing. I would say Artemis starts off as low tier DPS. Here is my Artemis. My Artemis is flute. It's slot 3. I have a golden epic 693. My Artemis comes in mid tier DPS for me. Most of the champions in the game are either there are more people that are better at DPS than my Artemis than are worse than him with this. And I've got almost average item level 700 on it. You got to get like 1,500-ish, and then the higher you go, the more damage it unlocks. So Artemis is a very mid to end game. You're generating lots of gems via speed gem farming, and you're dumping all of those blacksmithing contracts into Artemis just to generate lots of item levels. And then he still needs solid support. You have to put item levels in, some, not as many item levels, but a good amount of item levels into his supports as well. Yeah, I don't like Artemis because there are so many champions who don't need that investment, who start off as a better champion and don't need that item level investment. Jahira currently, but top tier DPS, doesn't need that item level investment at all. Narak's up there for me. Well, these are up there for me, but I think Jahira is just an all-around fantastic DPS now. Arvona with a question that's going to break me. Any general tips for new players? I need more. I need a question that is on a specific thing. The problem is you break my brain with that question because there's so much, Arvona. I have over 100 guides for this game on the Idle Champions Reddit wiki. Like 112 just for the champions, and then I've got a bunch of others. I have a new player guide that's probably the best place for me to direct you to, but I can't even really summarize that because there's so much in it. There's so much in it. It's now linked in the chat a couple times. My tip for you, my big tip for you, is try not to learn too much at once. You need to like learn one thing, kind of get it down, and learn another thing, and like learn. I think the first thing that I think everybody should learn is how to build a formation. I've got a guide for that. How to build a formation. That then is going to make you then learn one by one each of the champions you currently own. Like, how do they work? Because this game is a puzzle game. It's not an they call it Idle Champions. It's not really an idle game. It's a puzzle game. So formation strategy management. You're building a formation with all of your different champions, and each champion is a puzzle piece, and you got to figure out which are the best puzzle pieces to get you through any given situation. That's the entire game. The entire game is you building formations to apply to each different scenario. Now, sometimes there are formations that can apply to lots of scenarios, but then sometimes you get into adventure variants that have very specific rules, and you have to custom build. And the vast bulk of the content in this game are variants where you potentially have to custom build a formation. So yeah, my tip is learn things in slow little bites, and each bite is going to help you get better at the game. My new player guide does this in milestones, and it gives you reference material to study for each milestone. And yeah, that's my recommended way of getting through that. Now, there's lots of like new player tips and like all these kinds of things that are like, buy a familiar with your gems right away, or spin gems on silver chests first and then gold chests once you have all green. Like, there's lots of stuff in there. Most of that's in my new player guide. Okay. Niscus, why isn't bad puns in the tag of Gaarawarr shows? It's permanently in the tags of shows on my stream, but I don't decide the tags over here. Makaki, thanks for the good tips. Question for newbie: do you get blessing favors? These are two different things. Do you get blessings from adventuring parties that run in the background? No. Blessings favors. I don't understand what's going on there. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. So here's the thing. Every party that's running is going to be receiving blessing. They're going to be receiving the blessings that they qualify for, but they're not sharing any with other things. If they're doing deep runs, they could be earning favor when they complete it, depending on how far they're going, and that applies to your general favorites pool. There is like it's either a blessing or a perk somewhere where you get bonuses from having people in background parties, but I don't feel like that's what you were asking because you said from a newbie. So just know that every party you're running is getting their appropriate blessings based off where they are, and can be contributing to the gain of favor, but those are different things. Jason M. Bryant, when will I see the strong Modron core in the gem store? I have 4 parties and 255,000 gems, but I don't see it yet. Never. To get the strong gem, to see the strong core, you have to open the Modron dialog and click buy additional cores. They have their own special Modron shop. So it's never gonna. Unless they change it, it never shows up in the gem shop. It's only ever there. And honestly, it's a good thing because you don't really want it unless it's just bucket list item, you want to own it. It's not, I don't know. I don't feel like it's super great, but Sure War Eagle. In the event screen, it shows a % for completing the champions. Is there any reason to get this to 100% or getting the items enough? Okay. So in here, this 100% complete. I mean, there's no achievement for it if that's what you're asking, but they do have achievements that you might want to work on. Getting items is good. But this is more just like they're like saying, hey, you got all the achievements. Hey, you did all the variants. Hey, you got all the items. So you want to do each of the variants. Like you want to do the base adventure and then each of the variants. That's going to help your progress. You want to get gear. That's going to happen on its own. And then it's just like this is going to be one of the achievements. This is going to be off the variants. You'll get that. This will come from the gear. This comes from progress in the event overall. It isn't Finn's achievement. It's an event achievement. That one, I mean, if you don't get it as a new player, not a big deal. And then this one is based off building a formation in a certain way to unlock Finn's achievement for that. That's doable for you as a new player. I've got a guide for it up on the subreddit. In my guide for Finn, there's tips on how to do it and a formation. You may not be able to do it right away. It should be newish. Yeah, I did it with newish player stuff. I think Dritz and Hitch, maybe. I don't remember. So yeah, most of this stuff you can do. New players might not be able to do this one. And if you don't get that, you can get it next year. This with the numbered ones, this 275, 225, 175, those 100% have to be done during the event, but it's not the end of the world if you don't do it. Okay, so most of these you should be trying to do, like all the variants. Get a piece of gear for each. The achievements can be done at any. This achievement can be done at any time, but this one has to happen in the event. But yeah, there's nothing else special that you get. Except that sense of completionism, so you don't have to work on that champion stuff anymore. T5 Cats, why are there several campaign locations that show uncompleted adventures for various patrons, but they have none to do? Not showing 100% either. There aren't any normal ones. I don't know. You're going to have to, if you run into that scenario, make sure you're checking normal first with no patron, and then if it still shows you, it's probably that they have them in the queue ready to release, maybe. I don't know. It's a bug, but yeah. But again, I don't track bugs. Jason and Brian, I'm trying to get Xerophon's achievement. I have 8 of 9 different forms. Oh, is there any way to figure out which one is missing? No, it's the worst. Yeah, you're gonna have to go and try to knock them all out one by one again. There's no tracker to tell you which one you've missed with Xerophon. Their achievement is super confusing. Yeah, sorry about that. Why am I apologizing? I didn't make this game. Smoking one. With the current event ending, which of the 3 champions was just focusing on to get them chests? Oh, my hesitation should tell you all you need. I feel like they're all equal. Finn, the thing that I like about Finn is a feat, not gear. Yeah. I think they're all equally good. I don't see one as better than the other. In terms of gear. Because I've been using all of these. I've been using these 2 for stuff for a long time. Russ tends to go into Azaka farming. Talin is click debuff, but they also get used in regular formations sometimes too. Finn's going to be the same way. She's going to be used for patron stuff all the time. For patron challenges all the time, but she also has some effects. Unique effects that are enjoyable, I think, that will, like that she's got bud-based dots, so hit-based and armored-based stuff she's a viable option for. So, I don't know how to choose one. Lone Wolf, if a chest gives a piece of equipment to 1 hero out of 5, But I only got Hero 1 and 2. Oh, you're talking about a weekend chest. Will there be a chance that that chest gives equipment to the others that are yet unlocked? Okay, so weekend chest, folks. It's the Iridescent Pearl weekend. We're going to talk about this. So when you get a weekend chest out of the store for this weekend, it's an iridescent chest. I don't know why they don't just show it there. It's these iridescent chests, and it drops a gear for Valentine, Jarlaxle, Hitch, Virgil, and Jaheira. So here's the way these group chests work, and honestly, any group chest, any group chest. So these with just the 5, like the weekend chest, the season chests. There are these season chests that come out that drop for all of the Flayer hunters or whoever's in the season. Patron chests, regular silver and gold chests. These all because these all drop chests for a specific group of champions. Regular silver and golds drop for your core and evergreen, right? But any kind of group chest like this, like that I've named here, is only going to drop gear for champions you've unlocked. And unlocked means you have earned them in the general sense, like event and time gate champions. You have collected them. Evergreen champions, you have collected them. Silver and gold chests won't drop gear for evergreens you have not earned yet. Silver and gold chests won't drop gear. Well, no, that got changed. So yeah, silver and gold chests won't drop gear for evergreens you haven't earned yet. So you have to, if you don't own them, in this case, you should own Jarlaxle, so you should own Hitch from the newsletter. Get hitched. Sign up for the newsletter. You should at least own these 2. If those are the only 2 you own, they're the only ones that are going to get gear from this weekend chest. That's the way it works. Now, if you don't own Valentine yet, you could still buy a pack from the store to get this golden epic. It goes into her collection, and when you unlock her, you will get it. But that's only because this is a guarantee out of a purchase. And that's the way named chests work too. So if you were to get a named chest for a champion you don't own yet, maybe they did a giveaway, and you picked up a bunch of, for some reason you got Human chests, but you don't own Human yet, you could pop those chests. Their gear goes into their closet, if you will, and when you unlock them, they will have it. They will have it. Smoking again. I have many new heroes, all with no equipment. I've been popping gold chests, but still no new equipment, and I thought it would prioritize the new chest. No. No. Silvers and regular silvers and golds only drop gear for your core champions, core being those 12 starter champions. When you first start the game, if you unlock no other champions, you only have those 12 champions, the first one in each bench slot. And evergreens, those are those ones that you can unlock year-round, like Hitch and Nerds and Dritz and Dragonbait and Azaka and Alcoria, etc., etc. Okay, those are all in regular silver and gold chest pools. Electrum chests are the ones. So is it only Electrums that target new champions? As a general pool, yes. Electrums will drop... Electrums, like the one from the chest code at the bottom of the screen. Electrums will drop gear for any champion you own. Any champion you own. That's why I collect Electrums. I don't open them until I get a new event champion. I pop them all because if you think about Electrums, it's gonna drop gear for every champion you own, right? And all of those champions are gonna have some gear, so it's dropping gear across this pool. But when you get a new event champion, suddenly there's a dip. There's a dip, a little bit of a funnel towards that champion because they have no gear. So when you you start popping Electrums, it starts filling that funnel up, and as it will kind of funnel in, still kind of randomly, but the first ones are going to go into those empty slots, and then it'll slowly bring them up to the same level as everybody else with your just with Electrums. That's why when in events, I recommend popping Electrums first after you unlock your champions. Pop all your Electrums first, then pop the named silvers, and then once you have at least green gear on that champion, all minimum green, then start popping golds. That's going to get you to full blue in the most efficient way possible. All right. People are challenging me. They're like, oh, you answer all the questions, huh? Here's a bunch. I like it. I'm here for it. Silly Simon. Trying to re-optimize Briv's gem farm formation. Yeah. You got to train yourself to optimize. You got to understand, and then you got to stay on that optimization game. Shandy's currently on the naughty step near no one. On the naughty step near no one, and I wondered how your rework is looking. Okay. So we are in Vecna Lives. This is where I gem farm. I'm gonna turn off progress. This is what my gem farm formation looks like. Currently, it may get some adjustments. Again, you got in when the seasons are active, you have to constantly keep your eye on it and tweak it. But this is what it looks like. I don't run a full formation anymore, and I'm focused on just maximizing certain speed effects. I run it on Vecna Lives because there's undead everywhere except for like two area 1 multipliers, so 1 and 6. And Neris is the break. Neris is the hard break. I don't think with the new 4 feet slots that I'm going to be adding 4 feats to all of these people. I don't know if I will or not. Because that might screw up my gem farm. But at some point I will. Yeah. Let's pop these back out and pop everybody else back in. Uh-oh. This was like this. Where'd Wardeck go? There he is. It's like that, and then oh no, Imoen. I'm like, oh no, who was the last one? Imoen. There we go. But yeah, it's been working okay. I haven't had any issues with it lately at its current setup. T5 Cats, can silver and gold chests give shiny to event champions? No, because they don't drop gear for event champions. You can only get a shiny, like shinies happen for gear that drops from a chest. So if that chest doesn't drop gear for that champion, you can't get shinies for that champion out of it. Now, regular gold chests drop. This is maybe one of the confusing things. Regular gold chests drop feats for everyone. It's the only place you can get feats. But shinies, yeah, you have to have specific shinies. Electrums can give shinies for all champions. It's just, that's going to take a while. But it is possible. I've gotten one, I think. Yeah. Smokin', patron chests only drop loots for champs usable in that patron's missions. Correct. If I slot a feat to allow that champion, does that mean they can get gear from those patron chests? Yes. Yes. That's a great way, actually, is if you don't have the feed in and you get full epic on all those champions, then you can put the feed in and just target that one champion specifically with epics. It's, yeah. The Mole's Revenge, not a question, just a statement. I'm totally confused by these champions to the point that I can't assemble a coherent question. By these 5? I could understand by Warduke. Warduke confuses me. I don't like Bill. I don't like I personally, I think it's neat. I think it's a fun mechanic to have into the game, this whole positional play with positional formation abilities thing. There are certain players who absolutely love it. I'm just not that player. But that's okay. We've got 112 champions in the game. I can play with something else. But yeah, Warduke and Artemis and Archon and Valentine to a certain extent. I just don't use them that much. But some people love them, and that's great. I understand how they work. I just don't want to mess around. I just don't. And I think it all comes down to the fact that there's no way for me to easily see what abilities are positional formation abilities. I semi-understand. I understand it as best as you can understand it. But if one of these, if instead of these chevron icons, there was a different icon when it was a positional formation ability, I'd probably spend more time playing with it. And I just don't. I have built Artemis formations to complete patron variants, but it's not my enjoyment. It's not my happy space. Garth Thurgan, what would be a good level to aim for as a new player on Virgil's rapid fire equipment? Obviously the only goal is to max it out, but blacksmithing contracts for Scarson are needed everywhere. You need to prioritize. Well, they're not needed everywhere. I mean, you can put them everywhere, but you need to come up with a priority based off who you own. So if I can help a little with that, if you own Human, there's your first priority. If you own Briv, that's like second priority after Human, in my opinion. I prioritize Human first because Human's isn't, if he's in the right spot in the formation, if they are in the right spot in the formation, excuse me, it is an always on ability. I prioritize Briv second because Briv has to have stacks. So I like to get Human to the cap first, or at least to a happy place first. Then I get Briv up to like 100% jump chance. And then take like Human to cap, and then Briv up to like 4 skip. Then you look at like capping Virgil. Like I showed my formation. I rely off of Briv, Human, Shandy, who doesn't need items, Whittle, who does need item levels, and Virgil. So that Virgil, guaranteed cap is nice, but he's lower in the priority list of items, of where I would put blacksmithing contracts. And you would do these speed champions first, because once you're at like guaranteed 1 skip with 20% chance to skip 2, you can then start playing with what I was talking about earlier, which is automated Briv gem farming. So it's a scriptless way, just using the tools in the game, to gem farm and generate massive amounts of gems. That's why I'm sitting at 1.51 million. Yeah. And I'm even low on that number compared to some people. So target, you are going to want to target, you're in the right idea. You do want to target those speed champions first, but Human and Briv are a higher priority than Virgil for item levels. And for those who don't have Human is arriving in the next event. Human will return to the game to be able to be unlocked in the next event. Fred, I have shiny potions on Briv and Human. I'm assuming on their speed items. I want to use another shiny on a speed champ. Which would you choose? Virgil. Yeah. So again, I think you're targeting right. Briv's, you go on Briv's Theodinarax. That's his slot 4. And you do Human's Rainbow Eggs. That's their slot 4, I think. Yes, slot 4. And slot 4. And then you do Virgil's slot 5, which is Thrilling Memoirs. Those would be my priorities for speed champs currently. Yeah. Kinravip, regarding farming favored foes. Farming favored foes. I know Esmeralda, Minsk, and Neris can have undead as favored foe. Who else? Oh. Doesn't matter. Zorbu. Technically, if you choose the specialization for it. I don't know if we're just talking about doing this. You just need one champion in to trigger the favored foes. Now, if you're talking about the one that's like where you need multiple at a time or whatever, then you just have to. I don't think there's one that needs more than 3, is there? Yeah, but as long as you have one person in the formation triggering favored foes, you should be good. Okay. We got about 10 minutes left. We're gonna speed run this. The Frapster asked this question in one form before, but I didn't have the specific name, so I'm re-asking now. For Fen, when selecting between Shadows of the Underdark, when selecting between Shadows in the Underdark and Curse of the Dampier, when choosing the specialization path, which one is the best for what situation? Left spec, Shadows of the Underdark, is her support spec because it creates a bud-based dot. Right spec is her damage spec because it literally says it increases her damage. So when you are using Fen as a DPS, you go right spec. When you're using her as a support, you go left spec. It's straight up, that's it. It's one and the other. There's no reason you would use increase her damage as a support champion, and there's no reason you'd want to not increase her damage as a DPS. That's my argument. Thundron, should I run time gates for missing Baldur's Gate champions to complete quests? Yes. Specifically, not just Baldur's Gate, but specifically the Flayer Hunters. The Flayer Hunters. These 5. If whichever one you don't have, just do one time gate for the ones you don't have. Don't worry about getting gear for them via time gates. You'll flesh them out via Electrum chests. Use your time gate pieces picking up these 5 so that you can run the quests for the season. Alex on Fire, is that still true for new players? What? I need context. Or should we pop the Electrums to get gear for everyone? Oh, okay, since they're all new to us. So, Alex, so if you're a brand new player, here's the way it is. That response was for people who already have at least green gear on all of their champions. Then you have a champion that has no gear, and so you save your Electrums in between. If you are a new player and your champions that you own don't have, like your event champions, aren't at least minimum gear green, so that's uncommon, then you just open your Electrums as you get them. It's better to open silvers to get your core and evergreens to at least green first. And then you start buying golds for those to get them guaranteed blues and go from there. But for event champions, your Electrums are going to get you. Want to aim them to get you to at least green. They'll take you all the way to blue eventually. But once you show as at least green on all of them, then you can start saving those Electrums in between events to help with that leveling of getting gear for the new champions. Lone Wolf, is it a good idea to spend 10,000 gift boxes for a gold chest on a champion? No. The highest cost of a free play is 2,500, which means you could do 4 free plays with the same amount of gift boxes, event tokens. And you're guaranteed, the pity timer to get a gold chest from free plays is 1 in 4. So you're guaranteed 1 gold chest and 3 silvers, but you could get 4 golds. I've done it. So you want to run free plays this weekend with all of your tokens. The 10,000 cost for 1 in the shop is so if it's Monday and the event's about to end and you were gone for the weekend and you got a bunch of tokens but you don't have time to run free plays, you can still buy something with that. The Mole's Revenge, does Briv's jump ability work in background parties? No, not currently. TS Forest, if someone has a baby Human and a baby Briv, at what point would you recommend switching the priority for blacksmith contracts from Human to Briv? When you can get Human down to like, well, it's weird. Human used to be uncapped, so now I'm not sure what the number is, but like a 3 or a 4, like if Human is at like a 4 credit, like a quad credit, with the right placement in a formation, then you can kind of switch to Briv and get Briv to 1, like guaranteed 1 jump, maybe 120, like 1 jump, 20% the next, and then go back to Human, because then you could start contract farming somewhere in there. Gaarawarr for Life, how does Virgil stack with Human? They're separate, so Human's going to give their multiplier, and then Virgil's going to give his. And then they go against each other. So if Human has a quad and Virgil has a double, that's an 8. Right? Yeah. Smokin', you said Human is coming next event. They're returning next event. Yes. When I sort the time gate champs by time to event, Human is not at the top. I don't know what to tell you. That's a bug. You can submit that to them. Because here's the thing. If I come to event, if I'm understanding their new arrangement, we're in Midwinter. Grand Revel will be next. Winter Shield was last. Grand Revel has Vi and Human. So I'm just going by what the game's telling me. The Mole's Revenge. I have a half a dozen shiny potions. Nice. I don't know who to spend them on. I've already done a Human, Virgil, and Briv speed items. Any suggestions? Ooh. If you have Averin, Mirror Image would be the shiny. If you're gonna use Sentry, well, no. If you're gonna use Whittle with them, and you probably are, Tasty Friends. throw a shiny on Tasty Friends. That's another speed. If you're going to use Sentry, Sentry slot 3, Flowering Hair Vines. May not necessarily be needed, but it might be. Baloth's, here. No. Here. 6. Generous Gin. Generous Gin, that's nice, in my opinion. So you're going for the things that are bigger bonuses. If you're going to use Artemis, we already talked about this. It's the flute. If you're going heavy and Krond, it's the hammer. Yeah. Wrapping up the last of the questions. DVS Cuban, is Vi dropping in the next event as well? Yes. What makes Havilar a speed champion? Havilar is a speed champion because when her first set of imps are out, any fiends count as double credit. Fiends count as double credit. But it functions off having that first set of if you rotate through the imps, you lose it. But in the first set of imps, you get it. I have Human, Briv, Nahara, and Shandy. I believe once I have Vi, Deacon should be the last speech champion. No. 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 Because I don't see Virgil there. I don't see Sentry there. I mean, maybe if you're going for a specific thing. Minsk, technically a speed champion. Don't ever count Xander. Melf. Melf, arguably better than Vi. Still in slot 12. So no, I know that's not all the speed champions. But, I mean, that's a decent group. Vi isn't super great. Well, we don't think Vi... Here's the problem. Nobody understands what Vi does. I don't even think the devs understand what Vi does. I think they can explain it, but I don't think they can tell us how impactful it is. The Frapster, do you use time gate pieces to get champions? I don't, personally, because I have them all. But when I start a new player account, yeah. That's what they're for. Until you own all the champions, in my opinion, you don't use them just to gear up champions. But that's just me. Some people choose to just get the champions they want and then ignore the others and then gear up all the ones they want and then go for the collection. You know, that's a choice. But yeah, time gate pieces, primary use, get champions. Rodru, any info for the new event champion? You mean Finn? Finn's available right now in the event. The event ends Monday. I did a guide to Gaarawarr's guide to Midwinter Year 6 last week, so you can catch the VOD of this show from last Saturday to get all the info on Finn. Finn is fantastic, must-have champion for patron challenges. At her base, her patron ability doubles your credit. She also has a feat that doubles that, so you can run quad credit patron challenge Finn to make your patron challenges super quick and easy, comparatively speaking. That makes Finn a must-have. Must-have. Last question, and then we got to bounce. Grabbing it from, because I just saw it coming in chat. Thundron, how Xander works? That's a good question. When he misses, you should get a 225 stage objective done, or what? No. He's just useless? No, he's not useless. He's useless as a speed champion, in my opinion. But here's how it works. It's not that when he misses, you instantly get credit. It's that when he misses the target, it marks them. And when someone kills them, that single enemy gives you double credit. So this is why Xander, in my opinion, is useless as a speed champion. Not only do you have to wait for the attack timer, attack, and have it trigger a miss, which, well, he would miss at higher levels. Well, not always. So at high level, he's a high-end speed. He's not an early game speed champion, which is mostly what we want speed for nowadays. There's an argument that we do need late game speed too, but because you have to jump out, he has to not hit them, he has to miss, and then something else then has to kill it to get that credit. That's it. It's very like, and it's only on one enemy at the time. When you've got a Virgil, which it's like, hey bro, every enemy you kill, double credit. And that's just base. If you have more rivals in, it can be triple, it can be quad, it can be a quintuple. That's 5, right? It's just a very unreliable mechanic. It's a lot like Minsk's. Minsk's is very unreliable speed. I don't consider either of them really speed champions. Minsk is in a better place, but still not a great speed champion. All right. That's going to be everything, folks. Thanks for hanging out with me today. The CNE streams will return on Tuesday. I almost said Monday. No, not anymore. Tuesdays. If you like hanging out with me, I'm going to be streaming in about an hour-ish over on my channel, Twitch TV/Gaarawarr, spelled like it sounds. It's Final Fantasy Saturday. We're playing through the Pixel remaster of Final Fantasy VI. Come hang out with me over there. What else? Oh, thank you, Martin, for grabbing all the questions today. We're going out with the I'm a Mimic song because the Idol Champions comic this week was Mimic related. That's it. That's the only connection we got, because none of these champions have songs except for Warduke, and we already did Warduke's song. So enjoy, folks.
I'm a chair, I'm a table, I'm a treasure chest. Come a little closer. I'm a simple object just like all the rest. Lean a little closer. I'm your favorite jewel. Come on, pick me up. Reach a little closer, you know I'm just the thing that you love. I'm a mimic. Nice to meet you. You'll never see the light of day. I'm a mimic. Pleased to eat you. Can't help it, I was born this way. I'm a mimic. Have to keep you, 'cause now you're here to stay. I'm a mimic. Had to cheat you. There was no treasure running away. And now your prize has turned you into prey. I'm a bed, I'm a ball, I'm a door on the wall. Step a little closer. I can imitate, impersonate, or copy it all. Get to even closer. Once you pick me up, you're never putting me down. Stick to you like saffron glue and always be around. I'm a mimic. Nice to meet you. You'll never see the light of day. I'm a mimic. Pleased to eat you. Can't help it, I was born this way. I'm a mimic. Have to keep you, 'cause now you're here to stay. I'm a mimic. Had to cheat you. There was no treasure running away. And now your prize has turned you into prey. It's the suit of armor to catch your eyes. Already got the trinket left to tell lies. I'm not a doppelganger trying to be your friend. Just a hungry hunter here playing pretend. I'm a mimic, here to teach you that your greediness is not the way. I'm a mimic, I'll defeat you, causing trust issues every day. I'm a mimic, eat your feet too, and now you're gonna crawl away. I'm a mimic, such a treat you.